I want to kind of like change the view in how we look at ads. So the perspective that I'm going to bring into our chat today is a CMO perspective on ads in 2024. We're going to get into a little bit of the tactical, but we're also going to get into a lot of the overall strategy as well. I'm going to share a lot of insights with you guys and things like that too. So why are we here? Well, everyone wants to be profitable with their ads, but how do we do it in 2024? There's a lot of challenges, obviously, that have come about this year. You know, you want to scale, but you're not quite sure how to do it in the current environment. We've had our own obstacles and challenges this year as well. A lot of advertisers are having challenges with their paid traffic this year. Here's a bunch of those current challenges. You know, Meta ads don't work as well as they did from 2020 or from 2015 to 2021. Cost per lead is rising. Cost per acquisition is rising. If you've been doing this for a while, like myself, I mean, I've been advertising on Meta basically since like 2011, 2012, when the only way to advertise was like fan page follower campaigns. So like pre-conversion ads and things like that. Cost per lead, cost per acquisition is rising year over year. Competition is extremely high. More advertisers are coming in, more brands want to advertise. There's more advertisers in a specific niche, you know, beauty, skincare, lead generation for solar, lead generation for roofing, you know, high ticket services and programs and all sorts of like different guru things that people are advertising. There's just a lot of people advertising. So how do you stand out? Meta ads have been volatile from a performance perspective. I've shared different nuggets with you guys throughout the year on just what we're seeing day to day. I'm seeing things being a little bit better over the last 30 days or so. I think the algorithm's becoming slightly more stable, but just in general, Meta ads have been this year have been some of the toughest, you know, that I have personally seen. You know, if you have tried to dabble with, you know, TikTok ads, getting that going requires investing a ton into content. You need a lot of video. And unless the team is set up in order to do that, that's a massive challenge, meaning, you know, diversifying away from Meta. Like Meta has us by the balls and we know it, but it's also continues to be one of the most effective ways, even amidst the challenges, to get leads and customers for our online businesses. You know, attribution and tracking is difficult. Cookies are in the process of going away. Google hasn't really been completely transparent, to my knowledge, on exactly what that rollout looks like yet of removing cookies and how that's impacting our advertising. We don't really know that yet. There's rumors of Apple removing UTMs from URLs and click IDs from advertisers. Well, if those things happen, that's fundamentally where this tracking and attribution comes from. Because just simply, if we're not getting the data on who bought an ad and it's not going back to our pixels because the cookies and the UTMs and the click IDs aren't there, how do we track? How do we know if our advertising is effective or not? It's becoming more difficult. And then CPMs, you can just guarantee this. The moment that the calendar flips to 2025, you know, your CPMs are going to increase again. So, you know, typically I would say on average, CPMs increase anywhere from 15 to 20%, you know, every year. And then especially if, you know, there's more competition coming in. So these are some of the current challenges. So with those challenges, how do we become profitable now? Quick in the chat, this was kind of one of those examples of, you know, getting you guys engaged as well. Are there any of these challenges that I'm missing? You know, do you think, like, what are some challenges that you guys are having? Post those in the chat. Would love to know. Or maybe there's some things that I didn't touch on. So I want to get that chat going there as well. So, but if we haven't met yet, I'm Will Perry. That's me on the right, not me on the left. That's our dog, Wally. I'm the founder of Reason and Paid Traffic Insiders. I've had the pleasure of meeting most of you, you know, through Paid Traffic Insiders, whether it's been through DMs or through the channels, or maybe you've, you know, done some trainings with us or different things. But I've consulted dozens of 7, 8, and 9-figure brands. I've managed and overseen more than 100 million in ad spend. generated more than 100 million online. I've built 3 7-figure agency and consulting businesses and grew one of those to 8 million in revenue last year. I've done trainings for CXL, AdWorld, been on podcast speaking, whatever. There's a lot that I've seen, and I want to share that with you guys. So if we haven't met and you've only just maybe gotten creative testing mastery and you didn't really know who Will Perry was or what any of this is all about, hopefully that gives you guys some additional context. We've been doing this for a few years now on the Paid Traffic Insider side. So there's some of you that have been here for a while, and then there's some of you who might be newer to the community as well. So just want to lay out a couple things to kind of, get into the ad side of it as well. This is, essentially what I've seen and what I've found out over the last 15 plus years doing this. The key to scaling an online business to 7 figures versus 8 figures versus 9 figures. We want to be profitable so that we can scale, or we want to scale so that we can be profitable. Profitability and scaling are often sort of joined at the hip. And, let's say you want to get to, mid 6 figures, or, maybe you're launching a new offer or a new service. Or maybe you've done this before, to get to 250K, I kind of feel like you need to have okay skill. Maybe you're like okay at marketing, or, maybe you're good or okay at the service that you provide. And then you have, okay ads and an okay funnel, and somehow you're able to get leads, and somehow you're able to sell them into, your service or what have you. And that's kind of how you get that initial proof of concept to getting to, 250K in annual revenue, 500K in annual revenue. And then to get to 7 figures, meaning growing from 250,000 in sales to 7 figures in sales, you ascend that skill. That okay skill now becomes good skill. You now have a good offer because you've been able to refine it. Either through feedback or, through expertise or, what have you. And then you start creating operating procedures around your business. Maybe it's on the marketing side, maybe it's on the operations side, maybe it's on the fulfillment side. So those things start to get dialed in. That service becomes more formidable. And now you're getting to 7 figures. A good service and good marketing will lead you very far. And, what I have found, going to 8 figures is that good skill now becomes great skill, because now you've got, 3, 4, 5 years or more. You've got now a great offer because you've learned, what your customers like, what they don't like, and you've enhanced that offer. That offer is now more irresistible. You are developing systems around literally everywhere in the business. You've got a process for onboarding. You've got a process for how you create ads. You've got a process for how you bundle and package your product if you're shipping a physical product. And then really the X factor here is a team. The difference between like doing 250K and 7 figures is really how big your team is, right? If you're a solopreneur, you can probably do 250K to 500,000 maybe on your own. Maybe you have like a 2 to 5 man team and you can get to 7 figures. You then start training that team on these SOPs. You get some of that day-to-day work off your plate. You ascend as the CEO, and then that good skill now becomes great skill because you've got a team, right? And now you've got this systems, this process, and this team. You're continuing to grow. And then what I have found more so working, I've never scaled a 9-figure business. I've consulted with a bunch of 9-figure businesses and things like that. They have mastery. Like they have A+ teams. They've got a great offer. They've got tons of systems and processes. That team's really dialed in, and they've got lots of cash, right? They either have lots of cash because they, got an investor. They, were partially acquired by a PE firm, or, they maybe have run the business extremely efficiently. They've been over time, then they've been able to build up this cash flow, which then allows them to, build more systems and team and launch more products and services. So how does that relate to ads? Because that's what we're going to get into next. Because, we talked about what does the business need? Well, in order to get customers, we need to basically have an offer to get customers, and then figure out how to attract them, right? So this is what I'm seeing. You know, there's 2,600 people in Paid Traffic Insiders now. For those of you who've been around a while, like, you might remember when it was a messenger thread group. I don't know if there's anybody on the call right now, but Paid Traffic Insiders actually started as a messenger thread group, which was pretty funny to think of, like, some 3 years ago. But you need to have a great offer. I'm talking about a 10 out of 10 offer. I'm not talking about a 5 out of 10 offer. Just being honest with you guys, like, I've met many of you. I can see Sai on the call. He and I have chatted, obviously Suresh. Like, I've chatted with a lot of you guys. I think you know that, like, I have genuine love and respect for everyone in the community. Most everyone does not have this. Like, most everyone does not have a great offer, and it impacts ads. Most everyone does not have great creative and great messaging behind that creative. When I say great creative, I don't mean go spend $10,000 or $50,000 on a video. I mean, do you have the right messaging, and have you put time, thought, and attention into speaking to the customer? I'm talking 10 out of 10, not like you threw some shit together and then started running ads, putting money behind it, got frustrated that it wasn't working, and then said, Meta ads don't work for my business. That's not great creative. Tracking, attribution, data, and reporting, 100% dialed in. Like, to me, this is the difference really between a 7 and an 8-figure business, is the data and the reporting. Over the last 12 months, I've invested significantly from a business perspective into data and reporting and tracking and attribution, like CRM systems, like data box reports, like things like that, in order to gain clarity and insight and visibility into how the business is performing. Some of you might have seen, like, the growth scorecard stuff, depending on when I've shared it. It's like a dashboard spreadsheet exercise. But this being dialed in, like, most of you guys don't have this. Like, you're relying on what Meta is telling you in terms of what your cost per lead is or what your cost per acquisition is. Like, I want you guys to create tracking spreadsheets and things like that with your day-to-day performance, your week-to-week performance, your month-to-month performance. I want you to know how many actual leads you're getting, how many actual customers you're getting, and comparing that against Meta. And then where the attribution, like, mastery comes in is, like, and I'll do a training on this in the future if there's enough people who want it, is figuring out how to then take that data and push it then back to the pixel so that your pixel gets smarter. It's pixel optimization. Most are not doing this. Very few actually have reporting outside of what their ad account is telling them. And just straight up, like, you guys don't have the visibility that you think you have. Like, you're not getting as many leads as you think you're getting. You're either Meta is over reporting or under reporting. And is there an automated way of generating this type of spreadsheet? Yeah, Eric, I'll touch on that. We'll definitely do questions at the end as well. Keep sharing those questions in the chat too, so that way I don't forget and we can come back to them. And lastly, like, elite mindset. Elite mindset, like, I can honestly tell you guys, like, humbly, this is one of my competitive advantages. The way that I think and look at things, out of the box, long-term thinking. If you're afraid to spend money, if you're afraid to grow your business, if, like, I get that. Like, I've been there as well. I knew what it was like to be a freelancer and launch my business in 2015 with literally no revenue. Like, I left my 6-figure job and was like, I'm going to be a freelancer. And I was like, this is a great idea. And then I quickly found out how freaking hard that was, right? And I had to learn so many things. And so that mindset is going to come from, you know, being around other people. Obviously, that's what Paid Traffic Insiders is about leveling up. It's about being around other people who are pushing for growth. But a lot of people don't have this yet, and that's okay. But just understand that in order to get here or here, the mindset has to grow. If the mindset doesn't grow, we are not growing, and then therefore our businesses can't grow. And just transparently, right? Like, guys, I haven't figured this all out. Like, I'm still growing just like you guys are growing. I'm still learning just how you guys are learning. I might just be in a different point in my learning than you guys. And that is, you know, not to be determined any other way other than just that I'm at a different point. And so I'm always about how the mindset affects things, because there's really two types of business owners I talk to. As you can imagine, been doing this on the agency consulting side since 2015. I've talked to thousands of people at this point. Like, it's absurd. I don't even know. Like, I wish that I've actually kept count. But there's really two types of people that I talk to. There's the person who tells me they want to grow. They say all the right things, but they don't invest into themselves or the business. They make decisions based on where they are, and revenue is flat for an extended period of time, which is just proof that they're making decisions based on where they are, and they're not, doing the things that need to be done in order to actually grow. And then there's the people who will grow at all costs. They'll do anything to grow. In some ways, this can be a negative as well, right? They might even negatively spend themselves into debt. Not advocating for that, by the way. They recruit, hire, and train a highly skilled team. This is definitely me. Secures credit lines, loans, or capital inject into the business. Definitely me. Invest in themselves, their staff, of the business. A lot of you guys have invested into yourselves. You are in Paid Traffic Insiders, or maybe you've had mentors along the way, or you are reading books or listening to Audible when you're at the gym. Like, you have to invest into yourself in order to grow. And then you transfer that knowledge to the people that are then on your team, and you keep pushing them to grow, and then the business grows. But pro tip, I'm going to try to insert some sarcasm here as well. Both will affect the decisions that you make, right? If you think that you want to grow, but you don't make the decisions to grow, it'll affect your growth. If you say that you want to grow and you do anything that grow, it'll affect your growth, right? So either way, it affects your growth. But this is, so we kind of started with, what does it take to grow a business to 6, 7, 8, 9 figures now? We've talked about how that relates to ads a little bit. And now I'm going to start getting into the ads even a little bit more, because I just started talking about the offers. These are the 5 business models that I see winning right now. Meaning, as you guys know, I spend a fucking shit ton of my own money on ads. I get to see a lot. I know what works, what doesn't work. I know what funnels, offers, and business models work and which ones don't. I know which, having consulted with other businesses as well, I know which ones other businesses are using that are working for them, right? So there's kind of this myriad. I know through you guys what's working. So I know from my own experience, I know from you guys, and I also know from other businesses what are working. So I'm going to share those 5 business models with you guys right now. Would definitely suggest you could take notes if you want, but you're going to get the recording anyways. Low ticket to high ticket. They're not ranked in any particular order. Yeah, good question. Low ticket to high ticket programs. So you might sell a course or a training and then upsell them into a mentorship or some type of done with you package, right? So I'll give you an example. We work with this investing firm. They have one of their portfolio services is a crypto sort of management portfolio, right? So the front end offer for them is a low ticket product, or basically an info product, an education product. Yeah, I'll touch on that, Suresh. An info product, low ticket product, basically to get information on growing your crypto portfolio. And then they upsell them into what's called Crypto Nation. And then they upsell them into a $10,000 to $25,000, managed service. That's what I mean about low ticket to high ticket, right? Now, why would that work? Well, they can cover up the increased cost of ads by increasing the price of this program or this program, right? It's actually pretty easy for them. If a cost per booked call or a cost per lead goes up by 20%, maybe the cost per booked call goes from $300 to $500, they can still withstand that increase in cost of ads. Now, straight to high ticket. This might be maybe you are, you have a coaching program of some kind, and you're just running a straight application funnel, right? So you might have an ad. It could be a 60 to 90-second ad. And you're like, hey, I know your problem. I can help you solve it. I'm going to show you my solution and how to do this thing. Fill out this form, book a call with my team, and let's get working on it, right? So there's a lot of people here in the group who either run ads for funnels like this, or maybe who have a, service like this. Why is this a winning business model? Well, again, they can afford to acquire highly qualified leads because that price point is likely going to be $2,500 or more, right? So if I get applications for $100 and I get booked calls for 300 to 400, I'm golden. If I get booked calls for, let's say that 300 to 400, let me just use easy math. So let's say $500 and I close 1 in 4, right? Now I'm break even on the 2,500. If I do a better job of closing those deals and I increase the price point, I've got a pretty nice ROI on my leads, right? And then I do long-term nurture and I move those other leads into booked calls, and then I continue to grow my profitability. The third one is SaaS with continuity. SaaS businesses are great at getting people to try the product for free, right? Get a free demo, 7 days, 14 days, whatever it is. And they're really good at keeping them on the product, right? They have a whole team oftentimes centered around like customer success, right? The goal of customer success is to keep these customers on the product and create a really easy way for them to try it so that they don't want to leave, right? How many of you guys have actually left? Maybe you've got HubSpot or Salesforce or Go High Level. How many of you have actually wanted to leave that? It's not easy to leave, right? You're like, dude, my entire business is built on this thing. I'm not fucking leaving. It might even be because of pain. It might be because of laziness. It also could be because it's expensive. It takes a lot of time, and or also like maybe it works and you love it. So it could be for all of those reasons. We used to use SalesMate up until maybe like, I don't know, 2 years ago. Some of you guys know that we switched to Go High Level a couple of years ago. And I was like so resistant to doing it. I was like, I do not want to do this because it took 6 months. It took 6 months to really complete the full migration. Like the initial phase probably took like 30 to 45 days. And then, the long tail took longer than that. But why does this business model work? Well, these businesses are often willing to pay more to get the customer than what the prospect pays in the first month. So if the software is $99, they're probably paying $200, $300, $400 to get that lead because the lead's worth a lot. So the pain of disconnect is super high when you're on a SaaS product, right? Like it's super high, especially if it's like a CRM or something really integrated with the operation of the business, like a QuickBooks. Dude, I've been using QuickBooks for freaking, 12 years. I'm not leaving QuickBooks. Like that would be terrible. I don't want to learn how Xero works. I don't want to do that. And then I'll touch on Suresa's question here too, once we get to the next slide. Number 4, e-com D2C with continuity. Acquisition focuses again on getting the prospect to try the product, and then they upsell them into a subscription. You buy a supplement, you buy some Alpha Brain. What do you think Onnit's doing? They're trying to get you into the subscription after you've tried Alpha Brain. You've bought some other, what's hot right now as well. What's one that I take? Let's just say pre-workout. I've been buying the same C4 pre-workout for freaking ever. I've been buying the same Orgain vegan protein forever. I'm on subscription on Amazon. They've got me hooked, right? Like it was really easy for me to try it. And now the LTV of me as a customer is probably freaking absurd. They're just making money hand over fist on me. Why? Because profit comes on day 31, day 60, or day 90, right? Make it easy to try the product. Yeah, Orgain is so good. And then, then the business is profitable on day 31, day 60, or day 90. That's going to be, different for each business type. The fifth one that I see that is winning right now, high ticket e-com or D2C with frequency of purchase. I'm talking about like apparel brands, for example, where the cart value is $150 or more. High rate of consumption equals repeat purchase. Yay, that's profit. Yay, now ads make sense, right? New product launches and releases, repeat purchase. Hey, there's some more profit. Yay, ads make sense. Why? Because they have more margin due to the cost of ads. Ads are expensive. We just, this is not meant to be condescending. We just covered that, 5 slides ago, right? Like ads are expensive. Like let's make the ads make sense, right? So 5 business models. So here's and then I'll touch on Suresh's question. Which one did I not say? Post that in the chat. Which one did I not touch on in these 5? So low ticket info to high ticket program, straight to high ticket, SaaS with continuity, e-com with continuity, some sort of subscription of some kind, or some sort of like high ticket e-com with some sort of frequency of purchase baked into the business model. So which one did I not say? Come on, guys. Give me no wrong answers here. I will obviously give it to you if no one says anything, but it's okay to look silly as well. Like there's no judgment here. A challenge. Okay, so that's one like funnel style. Challenges are not profitable, by the way. Challenges are, which is true. Challenges are kind of like in this realm, low ticket to high ticket info. So I appreciate Suresh's engagement. Since we're not exactly flooding the chat here, okay, yay, Sam, let's fucking go. There you go. See, you got it. Low ticket ecom. One-time purchase, hate it. Hate it. Why? Ads are expensive. How many people have read the book Linchpin? Has anybody read Linchpin yet? Where Russell talks about the reason why ClickFunnels actually grew? Subscription, right? It doesn't have to be subscription, right? You don't have to have a supplement that you subscribe to. What was I going to say? Every month. You could be an apparel brand that builds a product launch strategy into your business model so that high rate of consumption is similar to subscription, right? It's another form of continuity, right? Like you're continually consuming the product. Like, I don't know, but I got a Cuts tee. Anybody else wear Cuts tees here? Anybody else a Cuts tee fan? I've probably got like 10 of these right now in my closet, right? Just the gray one, the blue one, the white one, the black one. I buy them over and over again. Once they fade or maybe they shrink a little bit, I just buy more of them, right? High rate of consumption of this product. It kind of falls in this these t-shirts are, I don't even know, 50 to 70 bucks, right? But I'm going to buy 3 or 4 of them every time when I buy them. Yay, ads make sense, right? So yeah, one-time purchase, don't love it. So if you guys are struggling with your ads, we'll touch on that. Don't love it. Don't love AOVs less than 150 bucks. Any of you guys know the ad ROI formula? Go plug it into the ad ROI formula. You'll find out really fast. So here's kind of like my proposition to you guys. How many of you guys invest in stocks, crypto, 401ks, IRAs? This should be an easy one. I should see the chat flooding with yeses or hand raises or all those things. How many of you guys are just investing? Kyle, thank you, Kyle. Brittany, yes. AO, yes. Andrew, yes. I hope that the majority of you guys are investing. Sam, yes. Suresh, yes. Are you holding or day trading? So Andrew, Suresh, Sai, Brittany, are you holding or day trading? Andrew holding, Sai holding, Sam a little bit of both, Kyle holding. I don't even know what DCAA means, I'm going to be honest. Brittany holding, lot of holdings, right? Dollar cost averaging. I do a little, okay. Now I see what you mean. I do a lot of dollar cost averaging as well. Always buying back in, on that. I'm no like stock expert, by the way, but I do have life insurance policies, SEP IRAs, crypto, stocks, brokerage portfolio. Why would we do those things? When do you expect to get a return on investment from your stocks, from your crypto, from your IRA, from your 401k? So I'm going to put all you guys on the spot again. So Sai, Andrew, Suresh, April, David, Ao, Brittany, Kyle. When do you expect to get a return? Day 1, 6 months, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years? When do you expect to get a return? Andrew, 30 years. Kyle, 3 years is the goal. AO, 6 months. Sai, 6 months. Options the same day. That makes sense on options for sure. So at least of the people who answered, it wasn't a short-term gain, right? It was a long-term gain. It's a long-term gain. This is how brands that are growing think. They make decisions based on the value of a customer. If a customer is worth $300, they pay $150 to acquire them, or maybe more. For example, a customer is worth $2,000 to Paid Traffic Insiders. This is one of those moments again where I'm willing to pay way more than you guys are willing to pay to get a customer. I'm not chasing a $50 CPA on a $47 offer. I'll touch on more about that. The brands that are growing, the ones that I see, the ones that I work with, that we consult with, etc., they set their cost per acquisition target based on the value of a customer. So if we go back a bunch of slides, let me see if I can find it. Will do anything to grow. Remember we talked about this one? Thinks they want to grow. They make decisions based on where they are. People who grow make decisions based on where they want to go, right? They know that this customer is worth $300. They're willing to pay more than $50 to get them, right? That's why this mindset piece is so important. But also, obviously, like being around other people who are doing the thing obviously helps as well. They don't look at day one ROI from ads. They look at 30-day, 60-day, 90-day timeframes of spend, revenue, and most importantly, LTV of that customer. Why? Well, what are the five best business models for paid traffic right now? These aren't day one strategies. Just like your stock buying is not a day one strategy. It's not a day one strategy. Guys, I started Paid Traffic Insiders 3 years ago, and I'll touch on more about that. Wasn't profitable day one, right? It was an investment into the business, right? Pro tip, this is exactly what is limiting your growth. We're chasing those short-term gains. So that stock strategy, yeah, options trading can work for sure. But for the most part, you're buying your crypto, you're buying your 401ks and your IRAs and all that good stuff for long-term gain, right? Like we're trying to build up a $10 million portfolio by time we're 55 or whatever in order to retire early. I'm trying to retire by 45. I don't know about you guys. I got 9 years left. So I got 9 years left to make that happen. And I'm on my way, right? But I'm playing a 9-year game at this point, right? So I'm 36 and a half-ish, right? I got a 9-year game to play to get to my number, whatever my, doesn't matter what your number is. If you have a number, great. Maybe you don't have a number. Maybe like some other goal. They don't, these growing brands, so like Onnit or whatever, that we've worked with for 5 years, like they don't look at individual channel performance only. No one here actually buys the moment they see an ad. I always love asking this question because none of you guys do it. Like there's 40 people on the call right now. Maybe 1 or 2 of you would raise your hand saying, yeah, I bought it. Maybe it was just something really good. You were already in the market for it. And yeah, you bought it. But like most of you aren't going to raise your hand right now saying that you bought something from an ad the moment that you saw it. And yet you're looking for day one ROI. And you hold your marketing team to this standard. It actually sounds completely idiotic, doesn't it? None of us actually buy the first day that we see an ad. We then expect to get money the day that we actually run the ads. And then we hold our marketing teams or ourselves to the standard in which that this needs to profit today. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me, right? Also, by the way, Google has reported it takes hundreds of touch points to move a prospect from awareness to consideration to conversion. I was witness to a very interesting mastermind talk that I'm not able to speak of because it was a very private room where the whole myth that it takes 7 touch points to actually turn someone into a customer or whatever is actually a complete myth. Google has millions of data points that suggest otherwise. That Google Click ID and that Google Analytics Click ID is literally on everything. You guys use your Gmail accounts to log into literally every subscription software that you use. I know I do. Your Facebook Click ID is connected to a million things. That's why, not a million things, that's dramatized. A lot of things. And that's why Facebook ad performance has been so heavily affected over the last few years, is because Apple and Meta are battling over who gets access to the click ID, right? That's where the data is stored. This whole conversation around first-party data, third-party data, that's why having, here's my thing, tracking and attribution and reporting 100% dialed in. Why? Because there's trillionaires arguing over who gets the information. And guess what? They're going to win. We're not. So we need to have a really good way of being able to gain insight that we're not currently getting. We all know that Meta fuels Google conversions. Why are we looking at Meta only CPA? How many of you guys have run ads for an apparel brand before, a beauty brand, a supplement company? Those Google ads absolutely hammer 5x ROI, 10x ROI, 20x ROI. Why? Well, they learned about the brand because of the Facebook ad, or they were already consideration aware. They typed in, I'm looking to buy, I don't know, a brain supplement, right? So the awareness didn't have to be triggered. The awareness came from Meta in the other example, and then they bought because of the Google ad. That's what's called an assisted conversion. This is why I'm not bullish on last click attribution. Some of you guys run affiliate stuff. Not big on it. Guess what? We've run a lot of affiliate stuff over the years too. We're restructuring a lot of the deals that we do with these brands because last click attribution is not great right now. Why? Trillionaires are arguing over who gets the data. There's also a lot of competition. Everybody's peeing in the same pool, and UTMs and click IDs and all that stuff. You don't have access to the API on the brand side, right? So tracking attribution being dialed in. We can talk about affiliate stuff later on, but that's why I'm not big on last click attribution right now, because if you are an apparel brand, you might only get 25 to 50% of your actual sales in a 7-day period on last click attribution, right? Because no one buys the moment they see an ad. My fiance waits 6 freaking months before she buys shit from an ad. And she tells me about it all the time because she knows that it makes me angry, but in a fun way. But she knows that, like, from an advertiser's perspective, that's a problem. So she shares it with me. She's like, oh, I've had this thing in the cart for like 6 months. And I'm like, you're the reason I can't track you, right? You can't track her buying behavior, right? Unless you look at things in a broader macro level view. This is how brands that are growing are thinking. They analyze ROI in a blended model because they know that channels fuel each other. You ran Meta ads and your Google ads crush. You have a Meta agency and a Google agency, and you're like, man, my Meta agency sucks. My Google agency is getting me a great ROI. I'm going to turn off my Meta ads. Okay, cool. Watch what happens to the Google ads 3 months later. They will decline, right? They will decline. Same thing with TikTok. TikTok is even more top of funnel than Meta. People aren't trying to buy shit from TikTok. They're trying to watch dance videos, right? So this is like really cold traffic. This is going to fuel the rest of the funnel. It's going to fuel organic. It's going to fuel Meta. It's going to fuel Google. I know I've got some of my affiliate partners on this call. This is why TikTok doesn't work, because the CPA target that they're giving to affiliates is too low and you can't track it, right? You can't track it. It fuels the entire system, and then the Google guy gets credit for the sale. Last click attribution. That's why affiliates are struggling to scale with TikTok, right? So on the brand side, they're not measuring, they shouldn't be. The ones that are doing it well, they're not measuring, they're measuring ROI from all this stuff, right? They're like, oh, my Meta, my organic, my Google, my TikTok, my affiliate leads to X ROI, 2X MER, whatever it is, right? They look at a blended cost per acquisition internally. They're using Northboom. They're using Heroes. Maybe it's Triple Whale. Not a big fan of Triple Whale. Not a big fan of Wicked Reports. I've always found Wicked Reports to be like drastically over reported because they use the email ID. I'm no like software dev expert when it comes to these attribution tools. This is just my personal experience. The brands that are growing, I really hope that you guys will listen to me or like listen up on this one. The brands that are growing aim to break even or somewhere between 0.5 and 1x on acquisition. When you run ads, you are acquiring a customer. Their goal is to get customers cost effectively who make them money from buying again. 5 business models that are working right now, these are all business models that get customers to buy again. Does that make sense? That's why they're winning. That's why they are winning, because they're focused on, they're not trying to make net profit from ads. They're trying to get customers. Guess what, guys? CTM ads are not profitable. Told you that for 2 years. Still don't believe me. But guess what? I did 8 million last year. I'll touch on that. I'm going to walk you guys through my funnel. Brands that are growing often pay more to acquire that initial customer, more than that cost to consumer. Like the SaaS model, right? Let's go back to the SaaS model. SaaS model, they just want you to try it, man, because they know they're going to get you to stick on it. They've got a whole team for that part. I actually saw an offer the other day. I think it's called Vertically. I don't know. It's some like AI optimization tool for Shopify or whatever. And the cost to consumer is like $47. They reached out to us, but they want to pay $120 to get them. And I'm like, yeah, these guys know what they're doing. They're willing to pay $120 to get a $47 customer. Why would they do that? Well, that SaaS model is like baked in. They're focused on getting that customer to buy again or stay, right? They're just like, man, just keep buying my thing every month. This is great. This is great for my business. So those are the 5 ways that those brands are growing. That's how they think. Now let's get into the ads portion of this. This is what I really think you guys need to do. This is like, hey, let me be your CMO here for a second. Or if you had a CMO in your business, we need to change the expectation of ads. Ads are getting more expensive, which means next year, if the price of your $97 widget, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to lose profit in the business when you run ads, because ads are just going to get more expensive. So the ads didn't get less effective. This is supply and demand, economic forces of things getting more expensive. It affects advertising as well. Your ROI is going to go down unless you adapt the business model, right? So ads work, have worked, always will work, always continue to work. They've been working in the modern era of 150 plus years, going back to newspaper and billboard advertising in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and whatever form of advertising that people were using before, the modern era. Maybe they stood on riverbeds and, held up their products and their, whatever. And they were like, hey, come buy my shit. Right? Like they did trading. They advertised in some way. They had little vendor booths and whatnot. They were still advertising. Ads worked, always have worked, always will continue to work. They are a customer acquiring mechanism, not a day one way to stuff profits. What we are missing out on now is the golden era. I don't know about you. The 2015 to 2020 era of meta advertising was fucking great. When you could run case study funnels and shit, talking about getting 5x ROI on apparel brands, that was a real thing. But the ads are more expensive now. So if we don't adopt, we die, right? It's pretty simple. We need to evolve the business model and accept the fact that ads are going to get more expensive, because they will get more expensive each year. We don't have an ads problem. We have a business model problem. If you want to get your ads to be profitable now, go focus on the 5 business models that I say that are working now and do that, right? Focus on that part. Ads are just going to get more expensive. So if you're continuing to make less money, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The ads didn't stop working. It's just they got more expensive and you didn't adopt your mindset towards it, right? If we don't evolve and grow, we die. So our businesses will go out of business if we don't adapt to the cost of advertising. And I would suggest creating a strategy that moves those leads from purchase 1 into purchase 2, 3, and 4. Doesn't matter if it's the same price as purchase number 1. You're going to make more profit when they buy the second time, just like my Orgain protein example. Or you're going to make more money when you move them from the initial acquisition into the membership or subscription program. And then you're going to make more money when you move them from whatever that second thing was into what the third thing was. Or if you're an apparel brand, you're launching the spring collection the fall collection, the winter collection, profit, 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 right? That customer might have cost $100 when you sold the $150 bundle the first time. But when they buy through email, now we're 80% profit, 80% profit, 80% profit. Sign me up for that. That sounds like a great deal. It's kind of like keeping the money in your stock account and Apple keeps sending you dividends every quarter. And then when you look back 10 years from now, you're like, man, I put 10 grand in and now it's worth 50, right? It's just a hold strategy. You're holding your customers just like you'd hold a stock, right? They aim to break even on the acquisition, and then it becomes a cash. It becomes a math problem, just to put it simple. It just becomes like, how long am I willing to delay profit in order to make profit? That's what the brands who are growing quickly are doing. They're delaying their profitability in order for growth. And it's not that they're not profitable. It's just that they're willing to wait longer than you. The same reason as why someone who might be willing to pay more for a customer would be willing to wait longer or pay more, right? He who spends the most to acquire a customer wins. You guys are probably familiar with that. If there's any Dan Kennedy fans out there, he writes about that in a lot of his books. By the way, quick side tangent. When I found out that Dan Kennedy came back from the dead, completely lost my shit. I had thought for so long that Dan Kennedy was dead. If you literally go on the internet and you don't know who Dan Kennedy is or who I'm talking about, he's kind of like the mentor to all the guys that you look up to now, Russell Brunson, like all that. Dan Kennedy's kind of like one of the OG original digital marketers, really kind of like OG copywriter in the modern era. And like 5 years ago, it was like reported that he was dead. And then only 2 years ago, I actually found out because I wrote a Facebook post. And I wrote something in an ad that said something like, this would have Dan Kennedy rolling in his grave. And then literally someone commented, he's not actually dead. And I was like, I lost my mind. If you've never read any Dan Kennedy books, I would highly recommend. First one I would suggest is The No BS Rules to Direct Response Marketing. That was like one of the first books that I ever read rather. On direct response marketing. Yeah, that was definitely an oh shit moment. I was like, my mind was blown. I could not believe that. So that was pretty cool. Somebody finish this sentence for me. Cheap leads equals cheap what? Clients.
Saying like no profit.
Cheap profit or no profit. That's what Andrew said. What else? What else other than clients or little to no profit customers, CPAs? That was the one that I was looking for, Suresh. Cheap customers, right? So here's kind of like the mindset shift. If we're chasing low CPA, what do we get? Cheap customers, right? When we basically get what we pay for. Right. So when we qualify people within our funnels, when we that's we get low quality traffic when we chase low CPA. Why? Because anything that is free is really like how much, not even really free. Anything that is cheap, like how much quality is there actually there in that? So it winds up affecting our businesses. So kind of like quick poll based on all of this, we kind of talked about different business models, ways of thinking, what's affecting ads, different offer types, how to succeed with paid traffic. And in your guys' opinion, why are your ads failing now? Yeah, Suresh, that's a great question. Sometimes high CPA is actually a good thing. It is a measure of quality oftentimes as well. Within if it's like a coaching funnel, and you're qualifying high, I would rather have high CPA because I'm getting the customers that I'm really looking for that high ticket service. Yeah, oftentimes too, budget is too low, so the algorithm can't learn. That's definitely a good call out by Mike. I guess that was from, in your opinion, why are your ads failing? Yeah, not spending enough, right? Andrew said most of his clients don't have a discernible way of reselling their hero product. People get scared and pause the ad. Yeah. Right. That's kind of that short-term thinking, aspect as well, kind of relaying it back to the investing, mindset. Little to no creative testing for sure. I mean, Francisco, you know that I'm a fan of that. Anything else that comes to mind? In your opinion, why are ads failing? Messaging doesn't resonate. Definitely a good one. Bad hooks for sure. How about this one? It's because you don't know what comes next. I'm on board with Andrew, right? Pro tip, there has to be something bigger you're working towards or your ads won't make sense, right? 5 business models. All of those work towards something else, right? If the ads don't make sense or they're not as effective as you think that they should be, that's really just like isn't there more of a business model problem? Like ads work, always will work. They're just getting more expensive. Yeah, no doubt. There's aspects like the hook and improving the offer, improving the creative, improving the tracking and attribution, improving the landing page. All of those increase the efficiency or the effectiveness. But yeah, if we're not defining the customer journey, how do we know what we're investing into and what we're spending is worth it? That's when ads fail. That's when, who mentioned it? I think it was Mike. Somebody said, Mike, people get scared and pause the ad. Well, why would you pause the ad? Ads work. So if you're getting leads and you're getting customers, what are we doing with those leads and customers? It's because we might not know what comes next. If I was just running a $47 masterclass, let's say that I'm a coach, consultant, whatever, maybe I'm an agency working with a coach, consultant, or some sort of like high ticket or low ticket offer of some kind. Somebody actually emailed me the other day. It's actually a perfect example. This guy, Carlos, love Carlos. He says, hey, Will, I want to launch a $99 course. Do you think that it could work with ads? Went to the ad ROI formula, gave him a little statistical model, and I said, no. He's like, well, what if I raise the price to $199? Can I be profitable? Or actually, I originally asked him, I was like, what is your goal? And he's like, well, I want to be profitable on the course. And I said, well, you're not going to be profitable on the course. Carlos doesn't know what comes next yet. So running ads to the course don't make sense to him. That's why he would pause the ad in that example, right? Well, he's trying to be profitable. Well, what if he just knew that he couldn't be profitable on it in the first place? Like, I love saving you guys time, effort, energy, money by just not running things that you shouldn't otherwise be running because they will never basically get off the ground in the first place. That's why this slide is important, or these slides, I guess. Like, if there was one area that I think you guys should focus on, I would definitely come back to this. The 5 business models winning. So mindset, touched on that. Cheap leads equals cheap customers. It's because you don't know what comes next. So here's basically like what you would need to do, right? If you need more leads for your business, create a scalable lead generation system. It starts with an irresistible offer, 10 out of 10 offer. Build a funnel that moves them from being a lead to a prospect. You could have a tripwire funnel. You could have a webinar funnel. You could have a call to application funnel. We touched on a couple of those different examples. You optimize your ads, you optimize your landing pages in your funnel, and then you optimize frequency of purchase. Send those leads to the next offer. Now you know what comes next. Ads make sense. Yay, right? Ads now make sense. Why do ads make sense? I'm trying to use this lead generation system. Let's say that here's a really easy example, something that we can all relate to. We had to have an AC guy come out to the house last week, right? So if I own an AC company, HVAC, I'm talking about air conditioning, a job might be worth $1,500, maybe even upwards of $15,000 or $20,000 for a deal, right? So like, I'd be willing to pay a lot to get that lead. I'd be willing to pay hundreds of dollars to get that booked call with that customer, because they could be worth anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000. They told us to replace just the, what is it called? Just the what is it called? The system in the attic, right? Like the why can't I think of the name of it? Not the unit, but like all the stuff that the air runs through. I sound like an idiot right now. Right? Was going to be like 15 grand. And I was like, shit, 15 grand. That's crazy. But the value of that lead and that customer is worth a lot for them. So create an irresistible offer. A lot of these guys, they have like an $89, AC, check, AC check-in type offer, $89. It's a really cost-effective way to acquire that customer. Now they've gotten the customer to pay for their own lead generation. Now the team comes out, they upsell them into, I had to pay $500 for Freon and then $1,500 to reroute the whole system. So I paid $2,000. My $89 led to $2,000 for them. That's a tripwire funnel, right? Into high ticket product or service. They ascended those leads to the next offer. Yay, now ads make sense. If it had cost them $200, they didn't find me through an ad. But if it had cost them $200 to acquire that $89 sale, they just got a 10x ROI on me. That is fantastic, right? That $200 lead now turned into a $2,000 deal. And then if we need to get more services from them, I'm going to be worth even more to them, right? Then it's all profit after that, minus cost of goods. This is exactly how and why we created Paid Traffic Insiders. Paid Traffic Insiders is a profitable lead generation system. I don't hide some of this stuff, guys. This actually leads to a much longer tail funnel. This is my funnel. Acquisition offer. I even color coded them for you. Cold traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic. Creative testing mastery and other programs. This is how we get leads. We then monetize those leads with Paid Traffic Insiders. This is how we become profitable. We then ascend them into consulting or the Ads Accelerator. A bunch of you guys have actually gone through the Ads Accelerator. We then also ascend them into performance-based partnerships. This is how we qualify our best opportunities. This is how we become more profitable. So not only that, but my lead generation system does 7 figures. And it then ascends into my high ticket service, which is this stuff, right? This is what I really want. This is where the most profitable stuff is, right? Because I know what comes next, I've shared this with you guys as well. The AOV on the Creative Testing Mastery funnel is $122 on a $47 offer. The CPA ranges from $200 to $240, right? Remember when I mentioned a Paid Traffic Insiders customers worth $2,000? If you're chasing $50 CPAs on a $47 masterclass, you're not going to get it, right? It's that long-term game, right? It's that long-term way of thinking, of knowing what to do with the customer next, right? That's all this stuff. That's where that linchpin model comes from. So if you're like D2C or e-com, the lead gen system's more like info, I guess. But D2C or e-com starts the same way, starts with an irresistible offer, ascends them into buying more from you. This is where the profit comes from. Optimize your ads, optimize your funnel, optimize frequency of purchase. I still joke about this. I get leads for free, guys. This is like my favorite thing in the entire world. I get leads for free. And it's because I know this is kind of like a weird, like, power struggle dynamic in this like aspect of it, because like you guys are all a part of the community, but I love you guys. You guys are, super valuable to the company. And also I literally share freaking everything with you and open up the entire playbook, and I don't hide anything. Like, it then ascends into the rest of the business. So this is the traditional path to success. You launch an offer, it fails. You launch a bunch of ads, they fail. You launch a second offer because you're like, I don't know what happened here and what happened here, then they fail. You create new ads, they fail too. You hire someone that creates more new ads, they fail. Well, the reason for that is growth comes from going deeper, not restarting over and over again. If you're continuing to start over and over again, how do you ascend the customers? The customers then don't make sense. The ad spend and the investment doesn't make sense. If you guys were constantly creating a new business every year, for example, how would that investment of time and dollars ever make sense? It wouldn't make sense. It would be like if you were constantly restarting your retirement portfolio again over and over every year, you'd be like, man, this thing doesn't grow. Well, yeah, you just need to hold it and then it'll grow because time is the variable, right? So delaying time and profit is then by going deeper with your offer, ascending those customers into other offers, just like this, especially because ads are expensive, right? And we know now what offer and business model types are working the best. That's how we're going to grow. That's where the profitability is going to come from the ads and from the business. It's going to come from figuring out a way to make it make sense to you. And all of that will be different for every one of you guys because you all have different businesses. And you maybe have a service-based business, or you have an e-com business, or you have an agency, or you do consulting of some kind. You're all going to have different ways that you acquire customers, and you're all going to have different things that you can ascend customers into in order for advertising to make sense. I love watching the faces too, by the way, like as I'm going through this, like I've seen Suresh like kind of look up to the ceiling a couple different times, which is fun. Like that means that you guys are thinking, right? Which I love that. Like that's why we do this. It's because I want to help healthy challenge you guys to get the things that you say that you want. And all I want to do is be a catalyst for that. I want to basically share all of the things that I see and bring it to you so you guys can get what you want. That's it, right? Like, so there's no reason for me to hold anything back. So digging deeper into the ads, a lot of you guys, you have this, but maybe you need to work harder on it in terms of the ads specifically. Bulletproof testing system. A lot of you guys have implemented creative testing mastery. The next thing that you need to do is test more volume. Most of you guys aren't testing enough, and it's not leading you to find these outliers and these winners. You need to understand what resonates with your prospect. Somebody mentioned that in the chat earlier, so that you can replicate the results of that test. A lot of testing, lots of testing equals higher probability of finding winners. When we find winners, we can move faster and ascend into what comes next. So if we're talking about the ads specifically, we have to test more. We have to get more insight. We have to get more data in order to then scale the ads, which then allows us to scale the offer, which then allows us to scale the business and generate more profit by ascending those customers through the business. Second thing, intentional creative strategy. Some of us have had the opportunity to touch on this. Going back to the effectiveness of ads, because broad is how you will mostly target. That means you need to know the prospect better than you ever have before. No more hacking to results with interests, right? You need to know what they want. You need to know what their pain points are. You need to know what their problems are. And I'm not talking about just like, hey, I think this is their problem, and then running an ad and then not understanding why it doesn't work. I mean, doing the research. I mean, reading all of the customer reviews and testimonials. Not just blindly writing an ad copy or creating a UGC and then thereby not knowing who you're speaking to. I mean, like you really need to know. Who thinks that I really know what like you guys' problems are at this point? I've been doing this for 10 years. I constantly survey you. I talk to you guys. Like I ask, I get polls, I get feedback. I obviously have like the indirect sort of experience of like listening to you, talking to brands, like all that stuff. Like I'm constantly learning and understanding so that I can help you provide a solution. Because what you guys really need to understand is, I think this is the fun part. When you write messaging, I'm talking about the ads. When you write messaging that is written as an offer, sign up for my 7-day weight loss boot camp, for example. You know, Suresh mentioned a challenge earlier. That only attracts one pocket of the possible audience. So if someone said to me, kind of going back to the beginning, Will, I'm struggling to scale. Well, you're only talking to one pocket of the audience, right? So intentional creative strategy, understand who you're talking to, writing an ad and creating an ad that speaks to more than one pocket of the audience. So if you're writing an ad and you have a UGC or a video, could be a static image or whatever, and this is highlighting problem A. Let's just say losing weight. Well, that's only going to speak to one pocket of the audience. And then maybe another ad talks to problem B. Well, that's going to attract a completely different pocket of the audience. So in order to scale, we have to learn how to speak to different pockets of the audiences. It's not like Facebook that is the problem. It's understanding how to talk to prospects that is the problem with the ads, because of not having an intentional creative strategy, and then not really being diligent with your testing process, or really maybe even being aware of how to speak to these people, which is okay too. That's what we're here to help you guys with. But either way, just know this, that when you write an ad, it's only going to talk to a segment of who you are targeting. And if you are targeting broad, guys, broad is like hundreds of millions of people. It is plenty big enough to accept your ad spend. If you want to spend $5,000 a day and you can't, well, let's dig into the messaging here. Work on an intentional creative strategy on how to talk to them so that you can create an angle to attract them into your funnel, which is kind of what Mike is, referring to there in the chat. Let me let this guy in. I think Prosper might have missed it. So intentional creative strategy. Number 3, build a content production pipeline. This is the part right now that I feel like most are struggling with, both on the agency side as well as on the brand side, because we know that we need to test with volume. We need to get a consistent flow of content in order to do that, right? We need to have a flow of images, UGC, and edited videos every week. So in order to do that, we need to build a team. Remember when going back to the 6 figs, 7 figs, 8 figs thing, meaning like 8 figures? Like, in order to move out of doing multiple 6 figures a year, I need to build a creative team that allows me to get the content that I need to have a consistent flow in order to fuel this testing strategy, in order to fuel all of my testing so that I can scale my ads, become more profitable, et cetera, right? So we need designers, we need video editors. If we're a little bit further along and maybe we're already doing like multiple 7 figures a year or whatever, you need a creative strategist to manage this process for you so that you get the content, so you can run the tests, so you can scale your ads. But most of you have a limit around the content that you're producing, which is then limiting your ability to test, which is then limiting your ability to scale your ads, right? So it's really a systematic problem. It's not just I ran this ad and my performance wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was like not having a pipeline, a content production machine, right? Which is then fueled by basically, like, we have a project management process that we use. We use Monday. Doesn't matter if you use Asana or Trello or whatever. We meet every Tuesday and we discuss new concepts. We put in new creative requests, and that content goes into production. So it's like a machine. It's a conveyor belt, right? So there's a constant flow of images, videos, and UGC that allow me to test in volume, that allow me to scale my ads. That's on anything that we run. How am I doing so far? Scale to 1 to 5. 1, this sucks. 5, this is great. We're an hour in at this point. You guys are too nice, getting too many 5s. I didn't do that, obviously, just to make myself feel good. I obviously want to know, like, if this is hitting home for you. There's no reason for me to to do this for myself, obviously. We are fanboys. Yeah, Raheem, I haven't seen you in a while, by the way, so it's good to have you on here, by the way. Oh, come on. Somebody just gave me a 3. Kick them out. I don't know who that is, actually. Kick them out. Generally speaking, we have a pretty positive vibe here, and I've always appreciate that. And then lastly, of course, you need to have someone to show you the way. Peers, mentors, coaches, community. Doing this on your own limits your knowledge. New ideas come from sharing. I guess that means I'm your Mr. Miyagi, right? That's why I wanted to know, how am I doing? Because, that's why we have a community, right? That's why, or that's the purpose of community, is for knowledge sharing. So you guys are in the right place. So what's next? You know, you've got all this information, you've got like these business models, these ways of thinking to adapt, to evolve. You know, what is next? Well, you guys didn't know this. I'm actually going to help all of you for free. And so hear me out for a second. I want you to skip the pain and steal our lessons. Get the clarity that you need to do what's next, gain the confidence in your marketing, in your business, in yourself, and achieve the consistency that you've craved month after month. I'm going to show you how to increase ROI. Keeping it simple, simple wins, guys. We talked about the business models, the before and afters. I want you guys implementing sustainable strategies into your business. If you haven't done the Ad ROI formula exercise yet, please go do it. I also added some homework in there for you guys. I think it was like on slide 4 or 5 about how you feel about your offer, your creative, etc. We've helped thousands of people. I don't know if you guys know this yet. There's more than 2,500 people in Paid Traffic Insiders now. That's just in Paid Traffic Insiders. We've helped guys like Alberto see the lowest CPA that he's had since 2019. These are not old screenshots either, by the way. We've helped guys like Blake double and triple his daily volume. Blake is an OG, by the way. He works for a very well-known info product offer that you guys are probably seeing the ads on pretty regularly. We've helped guys like Shane, who's an agency owner. Blake is a CMO at a company, at a brand. Shane's an agency owner. They got 12x ROI. They had one of those high-ticket e-com type products. Best results that he's seen since 2019. This was from last February, actually. He said this system has completely changed his business permanently. Or Inez, who literally did $603,000 in sales in like 60 days. Completely absurd. How about Alex, who's over in Europe, getting some of the best sales and CPAs that he's ever seen, right here. He doubled his orders, and now he had a new problem where he was actually selling out and he couldn't actually keep up with the demand in the warehouse. So he was working with Rita in our program. How about Sam? What up, Sam? Sam's on the inside. So if you're saying, I need to scale my ads, optimize my offer, my funnel, my reporting, get more customers, grow my business, we got you. That's why I created Inner Circle, guys. That's why I created my mastermind community. So if you are an e-commerce owner, an agency owner, a coach or consultant, Inner Circle is your CMO for growth. I'm literally going to give every one of you Inner Circle for free today. Everyone who's on this call gets Inner Circle for free. It's basically my coaching program. Weekly calls, we do creative strategy calls, ad review calls, offer review calls, new live trainings monthly. You're going to get access to me and our coaches, private mentorship. We're going to work through your goals, identify your gaps. We do offer strategy, CRO strategy, creative strategy, funnel strategy. You're going to get paid traffic analysis. You want to send a Loom on how your ads are currently performing. You want to identify profitable opportunities and what is going on right now. Send it over to us. That's what this membership channel is. You guys probably didn't know that this existed. All this other stuff is for our member side of the community. So you get paid traffic analysis. You've obviously got this members only Slack group with that members only insights. I'm dropping nuggets on funnels and offers that we're running. You can learn from other owners. We're going to grow and evolve that mindset. We do AMA sessions where we're jamming for like an hour. I mean, guys, if you want to grow, it's going to cost you $7,000 to $9,000 a month to add a CMO to your business, or you could just join Inner Circle. So you're going to get more tools and resources, calculators, worksheets, templates, frameworks, all these SOPs. I share internal creative SOPs, project management SOPs. I've got my head of creative on these calls. Some of you guys have met Jack. We're going to work on leveling up that mindset and creating a winning environment, because you need to know that proof is possible, or that growth is possible in order to ascend. Obviously, you need experts and advisors to help you. You need a community that wants to thrive. You can't do all this on your own. You guys need to ask for help, ask questions. A lot of you guys have been in Paid Traffic Insiders, but a lot of you are maybe just like lurking in the background, you know, kind of going at things at your own rate. That's cool. Totally get it. But, you know, the people who really want to grow, like we talked about the two owners, the two people that I talked to, they do what they need to do in order to grow, right? They make decisions based on where they want to go, not where they are right now. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you want to surround yourself with people who are half in, or do you want to position yourself around others who are action takers who want to succeed? That's why I want to invite you guys into Inner Circle, because this isn't going to cost you $9,000. Everyone literally is going to get Inner Circle today for free. That is the $297 a month, which is what David was talking about there in the chat. You're going to get all the weekly calls, the personalized mentorship, the paid traffic analysis, the members only Slack group where you can ask questions. We've got expert presentation calls. I had my friend Ellie from Get Creatives on last week walking through the UGC frameworks. Andrew was on that call. Andrew's in Inner Circle. Andrew was actually in Ads Accelerator as well. Andrew, drop how that experience was for you in the chat. I mean, dude.
Yeah, that was the best money I've ever spent. Sorry, I realized you said it in the chat. I started speaking, but
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. Like, and as you guys know, like I follow up with you. I genuinely, like, Andrew and I talk pretty frequently, you know, in the community, in the group. Like, I want to engage with you guys and help you guys. Inner Circle was designed to be your outsourced director of media buying. I get it. You guys, you need help, you need support, but you might not know where to turn or how to get it. You might not, you know, have the ability to pay for, you know, a consultant or an advisor for the business, but everybody can at least get started with Inner Circle for free. And I think you guys know I bring the value all the time. So I don't hold anything back. I'm going to continue to give you guys all the value. So here's my pitch. Here's my offer. This is that ascension that we talked about before. Go to paidtrafficinsiders.com/webinar. You're going to have the ability for the next 24 hours. There's a code on there. The code is, I think it was Webinar July. It's either Webinar July or July Webinar. There is a timer on the landing page. The code will expire by 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'm looking for the people who want to take action, who want help, and want to grow. And I'm going to be here to support you all along the way. And if you decide that you don't want to, you know, move into Inner Circle now, that's totally okay. You've got this presentation and all these details and all, you know, everything that we talked about today, and it'll certainly help you. Yeah, for sure. I'll send the link in the chat. So it's here, I'll just type it. www.thepaidtrafficinsiders.com/webinar. I'm going to stick around, obviously, as well to answer questions. But as always, I aim to give you 99%, you know, thank you, Raheem. I appreciate that. 99% more value than what I ask for in return. And this time, I'm just going to give it to you guys for free. Make it super easy for you to check it out. My hope is that if we blow you away and you put in the work, you'll get the results. So it's really pretty simple. We don't try to overcomplicate it. So yeah, link is in the chat. Would love to have you guys join us in Inner Circle. Here's everything that you get. Happy to stick around for questions. So if you guys want to either drop your questions in the chat, or if you want to unmute or like Anthony, I don't know if you had a question, but if you want to raise your hand and answer or ask a question rather live, happy to take those live as well. So let's see. Eric, the code is on the landing page. It should be right at the top. Let me grab this real quick. It should be right at the top on the lander. I'll show you. So right at the top on the lander, this is what the landing page looks like. So Webinar July is the code. So Zintar had a question. Yeah, you guys can drop them in the chat or raise your hand. I got a couple hand raises, so I'll touch on these first. What payment processors do you use in the funnels? On this side of the business, we use Stripe. So I know there's like a lot of people who don't love Stripe. We, for the most part, haven't had challenges with Stripe. Why? Because we do right by you guys. Like the companies who have challenges with Stripe, who often get a lot of chargebacks and stuff, like, and Stripe winds up shutting down their accounts. It's because like they're not fulfilling on what they sold. So yeah, we have our own. We have people who ask for refunds. Every company does, but yeah, we use Stripe for that. Most effective strategy to work with the existing customers, community and emails. Yeah, dude. Straight up, when we added community, like community is basically a social media channel for us, right? Like if you really think about it, it's a way to engage our customer base and constantly stay in front of them. Obviously, that's the marketing strategy side of it, but the engagement is fantastic in here. I mean, you guys see it, right? Like there's always stuff in this Slack workspace. So obviously we aim to provide a ton of value. And also, if you look at it from a marketing perspective, yeah, it's a marketing channel. Which platform do you use for the subscription community? Stripe as well on that. So we do use Stripe. There's others out there that you can use like Pay Kickstart and things like that too. They tend to be more like high risk processors, you know, because subscriptions do come with risk. Raheem asked, and then Francisco, I see you've got your hand up, so I'll jump to yours next. And then AU had one as well. Raheem asked, Will, would love to hear your thoughts on building that content machine creative team. Yeah, Raheem, if I don't answer this, feel free to pop a follow-up question there. In general, oh man, the creative team is so vital to the media buying process nowadays. Like we could not literally scale ads or any offers, or no matter how we're doing it, whether it's on a growth, you know, or I'm sorry, on a performance basis, like with our growth partners and things like that, it's so vital. So that would be like my initial thought is it is so essential. And because we need to volume test, like I need to get content consistently from someone. So there's kind of two ways to do it. You don't have to have an internal team, like having to hire a designer or video editor. You don't have to hire that person full time. You could obviously like use Design Pickle and Edit Crew for, you know, video editing, and you could use vendors is what I'm saying. And at least then you are getting consistent content that way also. So at least building your team through a vendor network is another way of doing it. But I think the main takeaway there is you can't scale ads today or get them profitable without a content team. And what they're producing is the content machine, you know, behind it that then fuels the process. So if you have a follow-up on that, drop it in the chat. Go ahead, Francisco. You've been patient.
Sure. Hi, Will. Nice
Hey,
to meet
man.
you again.
You too, bud.
Thanks. So this is a quick twofold question. The first part is considering the raising cost of ads. Would you say that trying to profit solely from a low ticket offer, maybe with a sales bump or an ADO, but with no high ticket in the back end, isn't profitable anymore?
In most cases, you know, I would say there's definitely going to be the outliers where like in low competition, let's call them niches or industries, right? I have seen it be profitable with upsells. But I would say the overwhelming majority of the time, no. And that's because like, I'll give you sort of a breakdown real quick. This is like the one that I sent to Carlos the other day that I was referring to. If your CPM is $50, which if you have a business op offer, a marketing op offer, a investing like crypto, whatever, anything like that, your CPMs are going to be in the 50 to 100 range. If your click-through rate is 1% and your conversion rate is 2% and your AOV is $199 or the cost of the product or whatever, that's a 1-to-1 return on ad spend. If the AOV is 99, now it's 0.5, right? So a 2% conversion rate is kind of like, I'd say it's good. I wouldn't say it's great by any means, but let's say that you use those same numbers, $50 CPM, 1% click-through rate, 3% conversion rate, $199, let's say, course,
Sure.
1.1 return on ad spend. So it's only 10%. If that offer is then $99, that just gets cut in half, right? So now you're at 0.55, right? So it really takes understanding. That's why kind of going back to like understanding what is the cost of advertising in this niche, most likely. What is the likely conversion rate of this offer and of this funnel? And then what does it lead to? So as I always say, I'm always willing to be wrong, but if I was a betting man, 8 or 9 times out of 10, I would see it not being profitable.
This is like US coast CPM, right? Because
yes, in that example, yes.
That example, right? Because in Latin American countries, they found it to be maybe a little bit cheaper as well.
Oh yeah, I mean CPMs in Latin America, or even Europe, you can still get CPMs in the $10 to $20 range for sure.
Right.
Right.
So maybe
then your variable just becomes the conversion rate at that point.
Right.
Which typically that traffic converts lower than it does in the US, right? So now you're kind of like, you have the opposite problem.
That's right as well. Yeah. And if I do have a funnel where my fronting of the funnel is the low ticket offer, but I maybe have a high ticket in the back end of the funnel of $250,000, for instance, would you say, I mean, how would you price that low ticket for me to be able to get qualified potential customers and not just only people that want to buy a low ticket and then just drop off the funnel? Because maybe I used to charge $27 for my low ticket offers, but maybe between $27,000 and $250,000 or $250,000.
It's a pretty big jump, right?
$250,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, and it's a huge gap, right?
There is a huge gap. I'll give you an example. So we actually used to do a $7 trial on paid traffic insiders, like the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
And the cancellation rate was super high. Because it was only $7. So how likely is it that someone is actually going to take it serious, right? When we moved it to $47 on the trial, which we do a $47 10-day trial, the retention rate like tripled. So to your point, price is a quality filter. And so I think the best answer that I can give you would be doing price testing. I think if I were to give you a specific number, I would transparently be guessing, because it really is going to come down to the results of the testing. But I think what is important to know is that, for example, if somebody buys a Rolls-Royce versus a BMW, right? It's still a luxury car, but the one is a more luxury car that is a filter for the next thing, right? As an example, I don't know what the next thing would be after buying a Rolls Royce. I guess a second Rolls Royce, but just overall is like, that person would be a higher probability lead for a maybe high net worth management portfolio type product.
Totally got it. And how would you feel? And this is the last question. About putting like a middle ticket in the middle of the funnel, like maybe $400 or $500. I mean, would that work? How's that layout work out for you? I mean, low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket.
That's what we have.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes low ticket, medium ticket, or mid ticket, and high ticket. And I think that's a smart move.
Right.
Obviously, like wanting to know more about the business and the business model, like as long as that offer makes sense, it's really a quality filter to your high ticket offer, right? So, I think just overall, it's definitely a profit mechanism too. So, I don't see a reason to not do that.
Right. And to that point, I mean, it is now a job of the product to be as good as it can in order to make people go into the next step of the funnel, right? Because if I create this sense of need in my middle offering, right? If I maybe give, I don't know, like lessons, and they see value in those lessons, and they, after that, seek that one-on-one that is a high ticket offer, that may be the answer to it, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your questions, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Ayo. Am I saying that right? I think I've seen you on a couple of the calls before.
It's Ayo.
Ayo. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to see you again, man.
Nice to see you too. So my question was, so I have a marketing agency mostly for like e-com brands. We're talking
Okay.
about community. How do you go around building a community around e-commerce brands, or what platform would that necessarily be built on? Or is the
Yeah, I
community?
mean, the reason we chose Slack is because we're all on Slack all the time. You know, like the reason we didn't want to, I guess you could go the Facebook group route. I know a lot of people that obviously use School. The reason, and Circle is another one. The reason that I'm personally not a fan of School and Circle, even though Hermosi's like, everybody needs to get on School right now. No one's
Yeah.
used to using School every day. So to me, the engagement is just not going to be there. You guys are on Slack all the time. You're on Facebook all the time. So where are they already looking to engage? Well, they're already looking to engage in a Facebook group or Slack. To me personally, I don't engage in Facebook groups anymore. Maybe that's because I'm in Slack. I also might be in like a unique case of having too many things to do, and I don't really use Facebook groups anymore. But when there was a time, I was pretty active in Facebook groups, and I still see stuff in specific groups that I'm in. But I think that could be a really good way. And essentially, if the group was, maybe it's like beauty e-commerce brand owners, and you've got 100 beauty brand owners, e-com beauty brand owners in that group, even though there's only 100, it's super niche, it's super targeted. The conversations
I was
are,
thinking for not for like my agency. I was thinking more for their businesses in terms of.
got it. Okay. I mean, you could do
Right.
the same thing. Yeah, just a customer. You know who does this really well, actually, is Go High Level. Is anybody in the Go High Level Facebook group at all? Quick show of hands or in the chat or whatever. Dude, literally all of their customers are in that Facebook group, and they're able to just get feedback all the time to improve the product. I know that that's a SaaS, but I would go look at what Go High Level is doing with their Facebook group, because they're able to just handle customer service questions all the time, get feedback in order to improve the product. Yeah, and I've definitely have worked with brands who have Facebook groups for customers.
Is there a way to do that on Instagram? Because I've noticed most of our, when I look at the placements and like where we're getting most of our like
Yeah,
engagement on, is mostly
I
Instagram.
mean,
Especially has the biggest following.
I guess you could have like a private like chat or thread group or something if the customer base was small, but I'm not sure. Maybe you could have like a WhatsApp group and you could go about it that way instead, or something like that. But even WhatsApp is like not really used often enough unless you're communicating internationally pretty regularly. I don't know, maybe someone else has an idea from the Instagram side. I can't speak to that part specifically, but there's definitely some different options from a community perspective there for sure.
Okay, sure.
I mean, if they're on Instagram, they're probably on Facebook too. So,
okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Good question. I'm going to touch on a couple in the chat, and then Anthony and Sai, I see that you have your hands raised. We'll touch on those too. Davij asked, when you say the PTI group is what makes you profitable, does that mean that offer pays for all your admin, bills, expenses, or are you talking about profitable with ads? It's really both. So it's what makes the business profitable and the ads profitable, because we look at things in a 30 to 90 day time frame and not just a day one time frame. And then yes, like the admin, the bills, like the salaries all come out of the total revenue. And because we look at our user journey as a system and not just as acquisition only, meaning like acquisition, monetization, and ascension. So as you guys know, there's really 3 core offers for us, right? You've got the master classes, you've got Inner Circle, and then you've got, let's just call it agency and consulting. Our middle tier, which is kind of like what Francisco was asking about, we're profitable at the middle tier, and then we're more profitable at the higher tier as well, to just kind of, keep it super simple. Hopefully that helps answer the question. Let's see. Mike asked, Are those tips still valuable for affiliates since the offer can be cut at any moment? Is it worth investing into that many creatives? Yeah, I mean, the only way to scale an affiliate offer profitably is to invest into the creatives. Like, for example, last year we spent 5 million of our own money in affiliate type setups, meaning we do deal structures that are like percentage of spend and or where we front the spend, or CPA type deals direct with brands. You have to invest into the creative. Like now in your case, Mike, you might be a little more frugal or a little more mindful of over investing into creative for sure. But I think at the end of the day, you know, that's what you're signing up for too, is you're signing up for knowing that you have to invest some into the offer as well in order for you to reap the rewards. So always down to talk, you know, affiliate style strategy as well, whenever you guys want. All right, so Anthony's next is in the chat. So I'm going to go to Anthony next. And then Anthony, is your question the same as what's in the chat, or?
I mean, yeah, basically. Here's my problem. I am a former marketing executive. I mean, I know everything you're saying. Problem is that a lot of the content that I have and a lot of the products that I have are like self-healing. Everything gets rejected. I'm constantly being flagged for misinformation. Like today, I tried to put a press release out on a book that I put out on Amazon about a month ago, and EIN Presswire come back and told me that it's misinformation and they don't have to put it out. So I'm running into that. The other issue I'm running into is like when I do run ads, they do get traction, but then I'm getting a lot of spam traffic, like with people that have running these spam bots, and then the ad itself will fall from relevancy. And so the people that I was bringing in that I was able to have legitimate conversations with, then the ad just lost its traction, and then it falls off the cliff because I'm getting spam traffic. And then the other issue is when you're saying run these ads where you kind of are targeting these various parts of your audience, the low ticket, the medium ticket, and the high ticket. Do you run them each in separate ads, or do you run one ad that gives everybody each opportunity of where they might fit into an engagement working with you?
So 3 questions there. I'm going to do my best to remember them. I'm going to try to work backwards first. So how we approach it, at least anyways, is you don't necessarily have to run an ad to target each offer type. For example, you can use different channels to ascend. So for example, we use ads to get the low ticket acquisition, right? Then we use community and email to move them from acquisition into the middle tier offer. And then we use relationships and outreach to ascend the people from the middle tier to the upper tier, right? So those are just different channels for marketing. Obviously, you could run low ticket or ads to a low ticket offer and to a high ticket offer as well. Certainly can do that, where you could, you know, ascend from like a masterclass into your booked call, or you could just run ads, you know, from like a video direct to a landing page for a booked call. Jumping back to your first question, which was the misinformation.
Do you do remarketing? Sorry, just quick. Do you do remarketing for bottom funnel?
Yes, but only for Creative Testing Masterclass.
All right.
Yeah. So not for like agency stuff or paid traffic insiders. We do remarketing through community and email.
All right. So not for trying to sell high ticket to someone who just bought a middle ticket or a low ticket. I mean, you don't do remarketing for that.
Yeah. I mean, most of you guys raise your hand and DM me, to be honest. Just being honest. Like just aim to give value, right? Like I aim to give massive amount of value. And then the people who are like, yeah, this is great. Like, how do we work together? That can happen in any type of business. Going back to your first question about around the misinformation, I'm coming in full well knowing that I don't have full context of your funnel and your offer, so willing to admit that. But this is the recommendation I actually gave to that crypto company about a week or 2 ago as well. Instead of running ads direct to a landing page with copy, run ads direct to a 5-minute VSL, because Meta can't crawl the depth of your video like it can the copy that's on your landing page. So you have some ways to sort of distance yourself away from what you're saying by running ads to a VSL on your page versus like all the healing techniques and what it'll do for you and you know all that stuff on the page, right? The benefits, the how you do it, you know.
Yeah.
So I would run ads to a VSL, and you could have opt-in before the video or just let them watch the video. And then on the video, you obviously describe the offer, and then it either books a call or pushes them to the next step in the funnel.
I've heard that one, and I've also heard the one of just sending them directly to your booking page.
Yeah.
And then if they book from there, they book from there. But yeah, that has been the problem, like sending these landing pages, like you're saying, like where I'm saying everything, and it's like they want it, but I didn't think about the video, because you're right. Like they probably can't crawl the video, but they're crawling the landing page, and then they're coming back. And initially they might be approving it, but then they're coming back and they're rejecting it.
Yeah. So the reason that I would use the video is because you can build intent and qualify the prospect. Right. So they're already going to come into the call with like some desire already around what you provide. And then you don't have to completely cold sell them, right? There's some objection handling that you can do. There's some proof that you can build. There's some hype that you can build, etc. And then the third part was about the bot traffic. And then I'm going to go to Sai after that and then touch on more in the chat. Is, by the way, still pretty pumped that the retention is still really good at this point on here. So the bot traffic, just like straight up, this is, I actually forgot to put that in my challenges thing slide. Bot traffic is without a doubt a issue this year. And what I'm a big advocate of is adding exclusions into your campaigns as well. You could like engagement exclusions and things like that to try to eliminate as much of that as possible. The other thing that I would really suggest looking at, and I'm not a affiliate of this by any means, but ClickSees. Some of you guys might even be using ClickSees or have heard of ClickSees. It's basically does exactly that. It protects your ads and your website from bot traffic. So you could check out ClickSees. And then what was the other thing I was going to mention about bot traffic? Just obviously last thing, without like really digging into the weeds, I would look at where some of the bot traffic you think might be coming from, like your placements. Like, are you getting a lot of traffic from Audience Network, for example? If so, maybe consider removing Audience Network from your targeting. Things like that. Maybe you're getting a lot of bot traffic from Marketplace or things like that. Consider eliminating that. You could also, are you advertising in the US only or outside of the US as well?
Well, I can only practice in the US technically.
Okay. So you're not, because a lot of times like low quality traffic can come from when people are marketing worldwide and things like that too.
But when I was running Google ads and it was just set to the US, I was still getting 25 to 30% bot traffic from India and Pakistan. And
wow.
I said, and I wasn't running the ads myself. I mean, I'm busy, but you know, when I was looking at the data and I said to, you know, the people that were running it for me, and they're like, well, we set the parameters that, you know, that you said to set. And I said, yeah, but still we're getting a lot of bot traffic. And they're like, well, you don't need to worry about that because, you know, you don't get charged for the bot traffic. Yeah, but it's going to impact the relevancy of the ad and
pixel optimization.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely, in your case, I would definitely recommend checking out ClickSees for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are really good. Those are really good webinar, by the way. I've seen a lot of them. It was very good.
Fantastic. Well, looks like the team made a mistake on the landing page too, by the way. So that's always fun. That the product was not accessible. So that's a bit of a letdown. Definitely need to fix that. The other thing, what you guys could do, Alex, if you're still on the call, you could go to www.thepaidtrafficinsiders.com/free trial. That one will work as well. So if you're having issues with the one link, use that link. Same thing. So let's see what else we have in the chat. Andrew said, what platforms do you use to pass back higher resolution to Meta? What do you use for tracking Heros Northbeam? Yeah, we typically use Heros. There are a couple of instances in which that we use Northbeam, but it's usually when the brand already has it. For the most part, I would say Heros is definitely a little bit more widely adopted. Stephanie said she had the same question as Mike, so I think I touched on that. Are you able to share any funnel links that are working well from the top 5? I'd specifically like to see the low ticket to high ticket, SaaS and webinar funnels. I mean, Suresh, like literally just go look at our funnel. Like that's low ticket into like a SaaS / high ticket. So I would check that out. Alex asked, the Obvious community group, community Facebook group is an excellent example of the community for ecom brand. Yeah, totally agree. Middle tier for us, yes, is the 297. That was a while ago. By using Elevar, yeah, nothing like spontaneous. You're telling me. Thanks, Suresh. Appreciate you, man. Are you using anything like Elevar to pass better data back to Meta? I mean, okay, cool. Thanks, Francisco. When we're using Heros, you can send the CRM data. It really depends on the tech setup. That's the best way to answer it. One of my favorite tech setups, especially on like coaching or info offers, is go high level to the obviously the API or HubSpot to the API, because you can send the CRM data directly from the now first party data directly to Conversion API. So you wouldn't need Elevar. All Elevar is just built on Google Tag Manager as well. So it's really just a way to pass through that, IP address, the phone number, all the customer details essentially to Conversion API. So if you are, yes, Francisco, the 47 is the masterclass versus Inner Circle, but which you already have that, by the way. Yeah, in terms of going back to Elevar and the Google Tag Manager thing, if you're running any sort of like sales process, you can leverage the CRM data from HubSpot, from Salesforce, from go high level to that. And Sai, I apologize. You've been super patient, and I just remembered. Thanks, Eric, as well.
Yeah, no worries, well. So, yeah, as you were saying about the business models, we have actually one in-house brand where we are kind of implementing the same strategy.
Yeah.
So, just like you mentioned, Design Pickle, we have an in-house brand called Design, which is more or less the same, where we have the subscription offer and we offer unlimited creatives for agencies or brands that are looking to get creatives done.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we have run direct traffic ads to this business, but none of them have seen profitable till date. And then we have kind of changed the strategy right now to we are currently running it to lead magnets or the info products, the free info products. Within there, we have plugged in the 14-day free trial of the same subscription. But right now we are stuck at a stage where the lead magnets in itself are not converting into the 14-day free trials.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take your tips. So let's say it's a basically alternative to Design Pickle. So it's called Design right now. So what would you suggest that we need to change, or how we should be improvising to get this working for us?
And it's a free trial, right? That they have access to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Within the lead magnet.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest even just adding a paywall in there, meaning like, how much does it cost per month, by the way?
So it starts at $799 for a multimedia specialist.
Yeah.
If you want, let's say, if you have a one-time requirement and if you want creatives to be done like in 1 hour or 2 hours, you can kind of get into a chat, which is a $30 product. So you can get a creative done within like $30 in the 1 to 2 hours time slot. So we
Yeah.
even have that, but even that's kind of not working for us. So that's the reason we have changed it to a 14-day trial of the main big subscription.
Yeah. I would consider maybe, if it's a part of the subscription program, I would consider adding a pay layer to that trial to see how that increases intent to stick around. So you said it's 799, right?
Yes.
So I think you could, I think that this is just opinionated on this part. I think the closer that you stay to 100, it'll show that they're a little bit more committed and serious. So
Okay.
I would test something like a $97 or a $99 trial, and it could be a 14-day or a 30-day trial. My main issue with acquisitions on free trials is that how do you activate them? Now we're doing the same thing, right? We're doing a free trial to Inner Circle, but we know you guys.
Yeah.
Right. And so you kind of you have a sense for how we provide value and how we work. Right.
Right.
But, for someone who's never had any experience with the company, they might not even ever open the free trial.
Understood.
And, but people who pay money for things, they are more likely to at least open it, to try it at least one time. So I would be really keen on a paid trial, with that aspect that you're dealing with of just like the stickiness and people sticking around and things like that. So
Understood.
Awesome. Let me know how that goes too. Like we can jam on that in Slack as well.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got one of the offer size in the group, by the way. One of the upcoming calls, we're going to be doing offer and funnel reviews, so we can definitely dig into that further on that.
Definitely.
Awesome.
And in case you need creatives, we have our in-house brand.
There you go. Perfect. Reach out to me on that too. I'm curious to check it out.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. Sam had a question in the chat. I've seen Meta recommending one ad set per campaign. Do you like this structure to test different audience pockets? One ad set per campaign. Just join Inner Circle, so I might get the answer there. It's all good. Sam and everybody else, Meta doesn't usually like the testing strategies that we use, I would say in general. Like they're all for a lot of consolidation, which takes away control from the advertiser. They're literally like, hey, just trust us, we'll do the rest. And I'm like, yo, I've lost way too much money that way. I'm not doing that. Yeah, right. So I mean, like anything else, test it, try it, but I would say in general, it really comes down to what's in the campaign that you're testing. That's why we're so big on like the creative testing specifics, like the intentional strategy, the messaging, all that good stuff. So, but I mean, I guess in general, no data is stored on the campaign level in theory, right? All of the data is stored at the ad set level. At least that's what they always tell us. And so that one ad ad set just kind of turns it into being a CBO campaign, which is just a different way or place of where the budget is allocated. That's not typically going to affect performance.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's the same as like at the campaign level. If you have 5 ad sets in the campaign, the performance is still at the ad set level. Like all of the ad sets have different performance. So if they want one ad set campaigns, I don't see the difference. Like there's there's no data that happens on the campaign level other than just maybe preference of campaign segmentation. You know, I mean, obviously they're really big right now. I mean, obvious or not obvious, but they're really big right now on obviously using advantage shopping campaigns and just, hey, put all of your creatives in one advantage shopping campaign. Let us do the rest.
Mhm.
You know, so I guess that's kind of like a one ad set, one campaign type strategy. But how do you scale from that? Like, how do you, like, do I turn off ads in the one campaign and then also test in the same campaign? Like, what if my performance drops? Do I decrease my budget? What if like my budget is high and then creative starts going to new creatives that are underperforming? Like, then I'm just blowing money. You
Those
know,
are all-
so like it doesn't
those are all
answer
my
all those questions.
Yeah.
So
No, that makes sense for sure. Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. Jay said, "Hey, you hiring media buyers?" I'm always open to talk. So if you want to shoot me a DM, Sai, good to have you as always. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Great spending time with you guys today. Apologies for some of the tech failures there on my side, but you guys have been awesome. A lot of engagement, a lot of good questions, and we'll be doing this again next month as well. So look out for a poll in the All Things Ads channel in Slack. You know, going to follow up with you guys and see which topics you guys are interested in next month. This topic actually came from polling you guys from last month. So if there's, you know, if there's stuff like this that you guys are interested in, share it. You know, we're always open to feedback of what you guys want to go through. And Zintar, appreciate the feedback there as well, my man. Great questions from you too. Now the link is working. So www.thepaidtrafficinsiders.com/webinar. Get a 30-day trial of Inner Circle. We'll work with you on your offer and your campaigns, and hope to see you guys on the inside. And it was great being with you. Catch you soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. See ya.